Hey, welcome back, listeners around the world, and of course, to our good friends in the cosmos. I'll be your host for the next hour plus, Ghost Man Shano, the best in the Midwest, broadcasting live from the crossroads of America. This is your place for the strange, your Shadow Nation. Oh my goodness, we got a big one tonight, guys. We got a great show lined up for you. This dude's big all over TikTok. He's had multiple TV shows and he's done radio. He's been in the news. So it's going to be a great show, especially for you psychic types that love to hear live readings over the air and things like that. Usually I don't have a lot of psychics on the show. It's not because I don't believe that there's psychic abilities out there and stuff, but a lot of them don't want to come on. They don't want to do readings. They don't want to do that stuff. And, I guess doing free podcasts, they don't make much money, but they do get out there. We have a lot of listeners. So I don't know why a lot of them don't, but we got this guy tonight, and I'll announce it a little bit later after we go through some of the stories of the week. But it's going to be a great show. So good to be back with you guys. It's been a great weekend. I hope everybody out there is enjoying it. And I'm right here in the studio for you. I got Alien Bob in the back. He's got my back. And I thought we'd just jump right in to today's headlines. I was reading a story this week. And you know how everybody talks about the paranormal, and I remember back in the old days, the ghost hunters, when it first started becoming popular, there was a big discussion about, should you charge people to do home investigations? And you guys get in comments, leave comments, let me know. You can watch this episode, of course, at the website at shadownation.com, or you can go to YouTube at Shadow Nation Podcast. That's on our YouTube page at Shadow Nation Podcast. And of course, our Instagram, you can follow and get all the short clips and all that stuff. And that is at Shadow Nation Podcast 1, the number 1, at Shadow Nation Podcast number 1, just 1, the digit. So with all that said, people have been talking about this for years, right? Because it costs gas, it costs money for the equipment and stuff like that to go out to people's homes. They call you out to investigate something. Should ghost investigators charge local residents, just regular home calls? Should they be charging the public? I don't know. That's a tough one. I've never personally charged anybody to go out and do stuff because I'm learning from their experiences, and I like to help people. I don't do much of that anymore since I had the show and everything. I don't do many home investigations. I remember sitting in one of the last investigations I did, sitting in a dark basement on a Saturday night thinking, oh my God, what am I doing here? Because nothing was happening. I had no activity, and I was thinking the whole time, man, I could be home watching TV. So I like to go to known haunted places now, where it has great history, because at the very least, even if you don't get anything, you have the history of the property where you can say you've been there, you've slept there, you've investigated there. And it's always so cool. The prices have gotten out of control. I mean, I know, and I'm jumping around here, I know these old haunts need money to keep the place running, to keep it functioning and remodel and just to keep it standing. And I know, but I think this should be a reasonable price. Some of these places are charging $300 plus a night for a small group of people to go in. They offer donuts and soda pop or whatever. And I know they got to eat. I realize that has to happen, and there should be a price for people to go in there and everything. But it's gotten a little out of control, just a little. And it seems like the more television shows, that's the aim right now. They try to get all these television celebs from the paranormal community to come out and investigate the property. And the more television exposure they get, the higher the cost goes to these haunted locations, which is kind of crazy, because the more ghost researchers you have come out, the better it is for the haunted location. You get more footage, you get more recordings, you get more stuff to back up your claims that your place is haunted. So there should be, like a happy medium with these places. I don't believe private investigators should be charging people. I don't think it's right to do it. How would you even set that price? I guess gas money would be okay. If a place is far away, you could, say, hey, can I get $20 for my gas or whatever, if you're doing a private investigation. But like I said, I've never charged, and I never will, to do an investigation, because I learned from it just like the homeowners do. So I don't know how you guys feel, but make sure to leave it in the comments, because I want to hear from you. The Ghost Man wants to hear from you. I want to know your ideas. Should people be charging to do private investigations at people's homes? Like I said, I don't do any of that anymore. I go to local places that are known to be haunted or allegedly haunted, and that's where I get that. But that leads us right into our next story, and this comes out of India, where things are a lot different. It's kind of like in the United States. Like when we were filming and everything, and I went to Manchek Swamp, and we did the episode of Manchek Extreme Paranormal with Manchek Swamp. Those people down on the bayou that live on those swamps and stuff, they believe in the hoodoo, and they believe in the rougarou and things like that. I mean, this stuff is real to these people. There's parts of the country that, they don't have time, they don't believe in this stuff, but some of these people have come face to face with these stuff. They live with the paranormal every single day, like in New Orleans, and try to tell them that it's not real. I mean, this stuff really happens. But in India, there was 2 women, and I got the story right here. There was 2 women in India, and the guy's name was Thane Mashta. And the 2 women, he was 79 years old, and these 2 women were paranormal investigators, or they claimed to be paranormal investigators. So apparently just one day they knocked on this 79-year-old dude's door, and they told him that they sensed his house was possessed by several evil spirits, right? Several evil spirits was in this poor 79-year-old man's house. And just like a telemarketer scams our old timers nowadays, and sometimes our young timers, they scam this cat out of like $56,000 over the course of 2 years. They would come out and do these rituals in this man's house, these rituals to remove these devils or evil spirits or whatever. And they scammed him $56,000, what's equivalent in the US to $56,000. I could not believe it when I mean, who knows? Maybe the guy was slipping. He's 79 years old. I just thought, well, that's a hell of a story. Now, nobody had been arrested yet. They're trying to charge these women, but nobody has been arrested yet in that case, which I thought was remarkable that they hadn't been, that's a con. That's crazy. That's crazy that people could do that. So I hope that's not something that's going to come to the United States next, where you start getting robocalls from paranormal investigators saying they sense that your house is haunted. That would be terrible. That would be terrible. Could you imagine? You could make a fortune in a nursing home. You just go in and say, oh God, this place is loaded with paranormal activity, and we're going to charge you $56,000 a pop to do seances or table tippings or whatever they did. They did these rituals over the course of 2 years. But yeah, that stuff's out there. So be on the lookout, old timers, because they're coming for you soon to a neighborhood near you. But anyway, moving on to our next story. Oh, I wanted to say real quick, guys, I got out this weekend and went to dinner and a movie. And me and the wife, we went to see, it was between The Pope's Exorcist, which I really want to see, or The Evil Dead Rise. I think that's what it is. The Evil Dead Rise. The Evil Dead Rise. I just want to say, and I try not to be too hard on movies and stuff, but Evil Dead Rise, it was, and I can't give out spoilers. Let's just say 1 out of 10, I would give it a 4.5. I mean, I drifted off to a nice, comfortable nap for like 15 minutes. I had to be woke up. It was just one of those things where they should have stopped with the last one, in my opinion, when they were all the last one where they were in the cabin in the woods and the girl was coming off drugs. You guys remember that? The lady was coming off the drugs and they had her locked up in the cabin, and all of a sudden she got possessed or whatever. And that was a good one. That scared the kids. That was spooky. It had all the elements of a great Evil Dead movie. But this last one I seen last night was just, oh God. I mean, it was just totally different, off script. And I know they tried something new, but wow. Wow. I mean, 4.5. That's what I'm giving it. So if you guys go to the theater or whatever and you see it, don't get your hopes up too high. Don't get them up too high, because yeah, it is a scary movie. There's a lot of cool, they tried jump scare type thing, but it's a movie. That's what I say. It is a movie that came out of Hollywood, and so on and so forth. But what about Salem's Lot? I read the book when I was a teenager. Great book. And I remember the original with David Soul. You guys remember that when it was made for TV special? It was like a 2-night part miniseries. I love Salem's Lot. I love the feel. It kind of is right up there with The Exorcist with me. It's got a slow burn to it. I love the feel. I love the story. It's just a great epic. I'm talking about the one with David Soul. It's just an epic movie, made for TV movie. I try to watch it every chance I get. And they're coming out with the remake. You guys might have heard that. Salem's Lot, the remake by Stephen King. And of course, you hear Stephen King, you think, oh my God, right? I got to go see it. Even though I was let down by The Last Pet Cemetery. That, in my opinion, should have stopped, because that Last Pet Cemetery was just off the chain. I mean, it had nothing of what I wanted. Now, the other one back in the 90s, the original Pet Cemetery, great. Epic film. Love it. Would suggest it to anybody. But again, they redid it and they went too far. I just pushing the envelope, doing certain things over and over and over again. But the Salem's Lot, it had a release date last year. And then they changed it to April 21st, which was this week. And I was so excited, but I had not seen any teasers or trailers for Salem's Lot. I hadn't seen it anywhere. I thought, so this can't be. What's going on with this, unless they're keeping it top secret. Then somebody said it's going to HBO Max. It's not going to the big screen. Now, that's weird. A Stephen King flick going straight to HBO Max. That's crazy. Well, I was reading up and I finally dug through the internet and I found out that they have moved the date again. And they haven't posted the date. They've just moved it indefinitely. And apparently The Evil Dead Rise had taken the place of Salem's Lot that was supposed to drop this week. So what a bummer. I was looking forward to that. I love a good vampire story, especially Salem's Lot. You guys know what I'm talking about. Leave that in comments, what your feelings are on Salem's Lot, because I think it's one of the epic. That's right up there at top 10 paranormal flicks. So yeah, I love Salem's Lot. I always want to go to the small town. I forget the name of that now. I forget the name of the town where they filmed that, but you can still go out there. They got that cemetery setting up on the hill overlooking the town, and it just looks like a cool place. I've seen many YouTube videos where people went out there and drove around and did the little voiceover where they was driving around telling you this is where this was filmed, this is where this was filmed. So yeah, Salem's Lot. Hopefully coming to a theater near us soon. Okay, so for the next story and last, before we get into tonight's guest, is research shows link between paranormal beliefs and sleep deprivation. So here we go again. According to research, those who experience sleeplessness or sleep paralysis are more prone to have paranormal beliefs. Any thoughts of paranormal activities or anything supernatural sends a chill down the spine of anyone who is scared of these abnormal things. The fact that so many individuals continue to believe in paranormal activity is due to this fear, right? It can't be due to the fact that I talk to dead people on my ghost box constantly and have voices come over. It has to be due to the fact that however, a recent study found a link between the quality of sleep and the occurrence of seeing ghosts or paranormal or supernatural things, such as experiencing the presence of a ghost. The research, which has been published in the Wiley Online Library, is titled The Associations Between Paranormal Beliefs and Sleep Variables. In order to arrive at a firm conclusion, the researchers of this study, which was carried out as a survey, tried to undertake through research by evaluating paranormal beliefs in relation to a wide range of sleep variables in a large sample. According to Science Alert, researchers conducted the study using an online survey, and a recruitment was promoted on social media in the BBC Science Focus magazine. In the end, 8,853 participants who were at least 18 years old responded to questions about various paranormal topics and sleep variables. Links between paranormal beliefs and other sleep variables were also revealed, and for associations, it was found that a higher level of paranormal belief was associated with a poor subject sleep quality, even when controlling for age, gender effects, the study authors mentioned. In particular, participants who reported stronger beliefs in the soul living on after death, the existence of ghosts, the ability of some people to communicate with the dead, and the presence of aliens on Earth tended to report lower sleep efficiency, longer sleep latency, shorter sleep duration, and increased insomnia symptoms. The experts behind the study mentioned that reports of paranormal activity or anomalous beliefs could be mistaken as prima facie evidence for more severe disorders. And they believe that this may encourage clinicians to assess for relevant sleep disturbances and parasomnias, in addition to other forms of psychopathology. So there you go. There's another one right there where it's trying to disprove the fact, or it's trying to say that ghosts, or I mean, it really didn't say ghosts aren't real, but it's saying people that get less sleep basically are hallucinating. That's what I took away from that. And that's why they see more ghosts, or they have more experiences with the paranormal, which, you know, they jump right away to sleep deprivation, that people might be hallucinating, stuff like that. I don't see that at all. Maybe the fact that you get less sleep and you're tired means that the paranormal, somehow your brain's moving slower and your body slows down, and maybe you're more focused. You know, your brain's not racing all the time. And maybe these people are picking up on things that when you get a full head of night's sleep and you're running around and you're burning up your energy all day long and race, run, you don't slow down long enough to be able to pick up the things that are all around us. I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave in the comments. Let me know. But yeah, it's interesting. Okay, guys, so without further ado, tonight's guest is known professionally as Thomas John, an American psychic medium. He starred in 2018 in the reality TV show Seatbelt Psychic and the CBS All Access series The Thomas John Experience, and that began in June of 2020. In January 2020, John began a live show at Caesar's Palace in Vegas, which was put on hiatus as of March 16th, 2020. Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. Ladies and gentlemen of the Shadow Nation, please help me welcome my new friend, the Seatbelt Psychic himself, Mr. Thomas John in the house. Thomas, what's going on, buddy?
Thank you so much for having me, Sean. I'm delighted to be with you.
It's my honor, sir. You got so much stuff going on. Oh my God, I've been watching you. I've been watching all the news coming up and all the new psychic readings and stuff you're going to have coming to town. And tonight, I wanted to jump right in. I want everybody, every one of my listeners, because they're so interested already. And for you guys, which are very few out there that don't know who Thomas John is, but I want to go back to the very beginning. I know there's a lot out there, but when did you first start getting the abilities to what you've now grown into as a psychic?
Um, well, I guess for me, my, really when I was young, I mean, really, 4 years old, 5 years old, I actually have memories of, connecting with spirit and receiving messages from spirit. I didn't really always kind of know exactly what that was.
Right.
But I do have memories going back that to that period where I remember getting visitations and things. And I think by the time I was about, in elementary school, maybe 7 or 8 years old, that's when I really started to realize, wow, my brain is a little different than how other people's are, and my mindset is a little bit different. So I think that's what happened for me. Mhm.
You were so lucky as a psychic. You could tell. You see, here's the deal. I grew up on the south side of Indianapolis, Indiana. Okay. It was those big old fashioned farmhouses. Most of them were doubles. And a lady, we found this out later, she had hung herself in our
Wow.
upstairs room where my stepbrother stayed. And I seen the apparition of this woman quite often. When my mom married my dad, he had lived there for 5 years, and he got so used to seeing this woman. And they didn't tell me about it until I was almost 8. They told me
Okay.
that the lady upstairs was not a lady renting the room upstairs, that in fact we had a ghost. And that's the hand to God honest truth. And she wouldn't do anything. She did pull my covers a couple times, tugging on them and stuff. Nothing violent. You would see her walk around the house, and she would just disappear.
Mhm.
Washing machines on and off by themselves, lights, stuff like all that stuff. But I wish I was psychic at that time because I maybe could have communicated with her or something like that. At what point did you reach out to these entities that you were seeing and start communicating?
Well, the first one that I received was actually my grandfather.
Hmm.
And so I would actually communicate with him, and I would actually, have conversations with him. And I felt very, comfortable doing that because I felt like, I just felt comfortable with that. I felt like he was, I didn't know him in life,
Right.
but I still felt, he's my family and things like that. And some of the other ones that were a little bit more, I don't know, that I didn't really recognize them or I didn't know them. I mean, that was something where, I was maybe a little bit more discerning or careful. Mhm.
Right. Pretty scary, I would
Mhm.
imagine sometimes for a
Yeah.
child to see these things. And especially, I'm sure you got some, because I do a lot of spirit box sessions. I've done ghost experience. I don't say ghost hunter because I'm not a ghost hunter. I'm a ghost experiencer. I go to places with all the spirit box and stuff like that, and I try to hone in my skills. I'm still learning on how to communicate through the spirit boxes and things like that, and I get some great results sometimes. But I noticed a lot of confusion, Thomas. A lot of confusion with the spirit boxes and stuff. I'll say a prayer and of protection. Please, God, help me out. Watch over me. Let's stay positive. Let's keep it positive. And I've been lucky so far. I've done this a long time, but I run into so much. I did one on Easter Sunday, and the lady said very clearly, "Are you dead?" I was talking about, if spirit guides are real, could my spirit guides help me through this box session today
Mhm.
to try to get proof? And this lady comes out plain as day and says, "Are you dead?" And then right after that, I got, "Where are we? Where are we?" twice. Who do you think, Thomas, that us ghost investigators, ghost experiencers, who are we connecting with? This thin layer of veil that they just moved on? They're lost souls or what?
I think it's a combination. I think that you can access. Um, I think that most of the times with that type of stuff, my experience is that those are ghosts, spirits that have not fully crossed over into what we would call spirit heaven. But I also think that sometimes the people that are crossed over they can sometimes play in there too. Sometimes I feel.
Right.
And I think that sometimes they, they can have a little, they can have a little, they can have fun there too sometimes. So I think that that's something that can happen as well. Mhm.
Right. Right. You think that's safe? What I do, the ghost box sessions, things like that.
You know, I think that with any type of spirit communication, you have to be a little careful. But I think overall, yes, I really do feel that that stuff is, yeah, I think it is safe. I think that you have to go about it in the right way and stuff. But yeah, I think that I feel like it is safe. Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, I used to go to people's houses a lot and
Oh,
try to
wow.
help them, have an understanding of what's going on. Did you ever start out like that? Maybe in your teen years or your early 20s? Did you ever start going to people's homes? Have you ever been called out to their house to figure out what was going on? If they had like
I have gone to people's homes before, and I have done that before. Yes, I do. I have done that before. Yes, I do. I also do a lot of stuff by Zoom. I do a lot of stuff by, by phone. So it doesn't always have to be that way. But yes, I have done. I do both. Mhm.
what is some of the most mysterious cases you've ever worked on? I bet you got some crazy ones because you can communicate.
Right. Um, Boy, there's so many. I would say I'm always struck by the children that come through because they come through with such profound communication. Um, Situations where people have come through where they passed, and they don't have they actually are explaining their passing, or they're explaining what's happened since they passed, or I always think that's very fascinating. I think I've had a situation where somebody had somebody that passed, and they actually didn't know that they were passed, but they were coming through in the reading.
Right.
So I think that was another thing that I thought that was kind of interesting too, because they were actually coming through um, in the actual reading, but the person didn't know that they were passed. So I think that would be another one that I thought was pretty interesting. Mhm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, do you ever have? They've warned me against it for years. Do you ever have attachments that follow you, or follow you home, and then you have weird stuff happening?
Since I'm mostly working with spirits that are fully crossed over and that are really in the light, I don't feel like I encounter so much of that as much. I think it's definitely something that could be. I haven't had as much experience with that because, like I said, for me, I'm really connecting with spirits that they're in the light. They don't really intend or wanna, they're not trying to, haunt us or things like that. I have done some hauntings where I've been brought in as a psychic. It's not really my favorite type of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of attachments, I don't, on my show, see a woman that came on, um, and she actually, she it was interesting. She came through, and she was on my show, and she was a mortician. And she had a lot of spiritual entities that were attached to her.
Yeah.
I think just from her work, so that was a really interesting one. That was
You
actually
had to actually stop the car and let her out, ask her to
right,
leave.
right. Hmm.
What was happening in that moment to you while you were driving that you had to ask her, "Ma'am, could you please step out?"
It was, excuse me, it was just a kind of an overwhelming feeling. Just it felt like I was being like attacked. It felt like I just felt yeah, like I was being, I just felt a tremendous amount of energy in the car. And it felt very intense, and it felt like I couldn't breathe. Mhm.
Right. Because I remember you saying you could have an accident in the driving
Right.
the car. Because I guess that's because you can't focus at that point, right? It's too many voices or
Yeah, and there was also the energy of I mean, it actually felt, I mean, I could feel the energy, you know, so it was just a very, it was a lot. Mhm.
Right. Now, most clairvoyant mediums and psychics, they always say that someone in their background, in their family background, has had that power, that capability. Was there people in your family, your ancestors, that were psychics or mediums? Or
Great question. You know, I've dug into that a little bit, and not that I can find, not that I can find. Um, there's a couple people on my dad's side that say that people talked about that or they were sensitive or something. I haven't been able to find anything that is really like a verifiable thing, you know. So, not that I've come across. Not that I know of. No. Mm-mm.
oh wow.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's talk about some of your new stuff coming out because I'm excited about it. I've seen some of the advertisements for it. Can you list off some of the new specials you got coming up?
Well, I'm working on bringing back my show, Seatbelt Psychic.
Hmm.
That's actually the main focus right now, um, because with COVID, it kind of got a little bit set back. So I'm in talks about we're trying to kind of maybe bring that back and stuff, which would be great. It's been the TikTok people and the things like that that have kind of brought some new attention to it. So we're hoping to kind of go back to that. Also, I am same thing happened. I had my residency in Vegas, um, and that got totally shut down with everything. So I'm also trying to bring that back as well. So I'm excited about that as well.
At Caesar's Palace.
Yeah, we're in talks with some different places because the room that I actually was in before, it no longer even exists. They don't even, they don't. It's not a room anymore.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so definitely that. And I always am doing my classes, my online stuff. I have a lot of upcoming events and things like that, and I like to stay busy with that stuff too. So I have a lot of that type of stuff coming up as well.
That's great, man. That's amazing. And the more you're out there, the more people seem to want. And like you said, uh, you've exploded on TikTok. Your old stuff from Seatbelt Psyche, people share it and share it. You see it everywhere. I mean,
Right.
it's amazing. So, um, one thing I want to ask you is this
Interesting.
because you're so busy all the time with what you're doing now. I doubt you work another job, right? Like a blue collar type gig on the side, or
No, no, I had to devote my life to doing my work as a medium about 10 or 11 years ago because it just was and it's interesting because of course I get slack from people sometimes who don't really understand the work that will say to me, oh my god, well, it's a gift you were born with. Why is it that you would charge for that? Because you shouldn't charge for that because
you got to eat.
well, and I tell people, well, in order to not charge for my work, I would have to have another job. And in order for me to have another job, I would be probably so drained from that job. I
Right.
would have, who even knows? I don't even know what I would, what I would be able to really even really accomplish, as far, I mean, it's, I mean, I mean, I don't know what I would be able to even, get done. I would be probably so exhausted, so.
Yeah, exactly. And what you do has to drain you. I mean,
It
constantly.
does.
After a
It does.
session, and you got everybody asking you all these questions, and then you got to contact with the spirits, and they're do they take energy from you? Because there's been a lot of things in the paranormal community. They say they don't need our energy, ghost spirits, they don't use our energy. And then a lot of other people have said, yeah,
I
they
don't, yeah, I don't feel like they really take our energy. I mean, I do feel like it is, they definitely, it definitely is a, it's a lot. I mean, you have to be kind of aware of that and stuff. I think it's the energy of just even, I mean, even the energy of even just kind of dealing with people, and having that type of energy. I mean, I think can be a little draining and things like that. But No, I would say I don't think that they per se, take, I don't think that they per se, take our energy. No, I don't feel that. Mhm.
Have you ever ran in, and I'm sure you have, ran into a spirit that you feel like wanted to harm you in any way? Jealousy or anger because they were dead and they were lashing out at you?
I don't know if I really have had that. I mean, I've had some spirits that have been maybe upset. Maybe they weren't totally at peace. Maybe they weren't, um, totally in a place where they were maybe necessarily, happy or something. But I would say, and have I ever had one that I felt was trying to attack me, or something like that, or really hurt me? I would say no.
Like mentally, I thought they'd try to get in your head and, you know, mess with you at
Um,
night while you're trying to relax
yeah,
or
good question. Not that I've experienced. I mean, I'm not going to say that that's they're wanting to. I mean, their goal is. I mean, they want to. They want to get their message across. They want to bring. They want to bring through. What they want to bring through. They want to bring through things that they can, that they can share and things that they can. So that's kind of what that's what they want to bring through. And so a lot of times, that's what their focus is, and that's really what their what their what their what their that's what their purpose is. So they're not really looking at it to, kind of make my life difficult, because they know that, I'm the one that can actually, get their message across. Mhm.
right, right. Well, I didn't know if it was like in the movie Ghost. You remember with Whoopi Goldberg, and they're
Right.
all standing around her constantly, and she could, and they're just constantly talking. When they first find out that she's like a target because now she's a medium, and all of a sudden all the spirits were trying to come through at once. I didn't know if it was a life like that and how you would,
Well,
if
you
there was
definitely, you
any.
definitely, you definitely have that, and they, I mean, I think that there are times where they might have a more, persistent, or they have something where they, they're more, they are more like that, um, or they, but I don't think it's, I feel like it's not where I feel like they're stalking you or things like that. Sometimes and frequently actually, I will get spirits where they're like, hey, no, I really want to get this message across, and I need your help to do this.
Right.
And they'll, that's sometimes something that they will do. Yeah. Mhm.
Do you have a mental mechanism to back it up, like turn it off at some point? You have to, right?
Yes, I mean I do. I do have that, and it's mostly through, meditation and through prayer. And really, that's, I would say that's the that's the thing that's the most important, is keeping as close as I can to spirit, and really just, as much as possible, really keeping in that place of meditation prayer. The more I can do that, the more that my vibration is high enough that, they're not gonna, that I can, and also that I can, I can communicate with them and stuff. So that's kind of my philosophy. I feel like there's such a, I think because of some stuff, there's a lot of misunderstandings about spirit communication, and I think that people, um, misunderstand it. But most of the time, the communications are positive. They're loving. They're come from a place of kindness, of grace, of wanting to genuinely, guide, and wanting
Right.
to genuinely, give messages of hope and inspiration. I mean, that's what they want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, from a scientific aspect, what do you think? Like what I deal with, because I'm not psychic. Well, I mean, sometimes I'll walk into a place like, let's say mom and dad just had a fight and you walk into the room, you can feel the tension. You know, I feel that sometimes at haunted places. I can walk in and I just feel something. I'm not saying I'm psychic, but I feel
Right.
something in the air. Maybe it's the history or the story, which I love, right? But do you think everybody has a little psychic spark to them that we're born with?
Yes, I
You
think
do?
everybody has intuition. Um, I think it truly is the sixth sense. I mean, I think that everybody has an ability to see, hear, and feel spirit. And I think that it just depends how much people want to develop that. I think it depends how much people want to, that they can open their minds to that and things like that. But I think everybody has that. Yes. Mhm.
Right. Now, would you be able to, and this would be a hard request, would you be able to hone in on what I experienced as a kid with that lady in my house and figure out if she's still around me somehow or if you feel anything like that? Because every once in a while I'll have a dream and I'll see her. And she was just a white lady with short brown hair. And the only thing is I've seen two apparitions in my life and they've been as real as you and I. Like you could reach out and touch them. The only thing was the ones I seen had black eyes. Their eyes weren't missing. It wasn't like a skull or anything. They just
Right.
had black eyes. And I was on the Travel Channel. I tried to tell them about it. They didn't seem like they were getting that it wasn't a skull. It was just where the eyes were at. It was just black. I didn't know if you seen something or if you felt something from me that, because like I said, every once in a while she'll pop into a dream.
Well, I think with her, she has a very strong connection to you for some reason. I think she just kind of gravitates. I feel like she just has a connection, a spiritual connection to you, which is, I think that's, and sometimes you will get spirits that it's just, you become their favorite or they like you or they feel drawn to you or, something like that. And they just are there.
Yeah.
Um, so,
I
yeah,
always thought about going back to that house and investigating it, seeing if she's still around that house, the one I grew up in.
right. Mhm. Yeah, I think, but I don't. She doesn't seem like a personal relative of yours.
No.
Yeah, she seems more. I also feel a little bit of an energy of your dad around you. Is your dad passed?
Dad did pass. Dad
Okay.
just passed about 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but I get a feeling of him. I don't know. Did you guys have very different belief systems about this type of stuff? I feel like he didn't really understand your type. I don't know, like your like I don't know, like your work and the paranormal stuff. Did he like was he against it?
Well, Dad was very religious man,
Mm.
and he was, and I believe in God myself and Jesus and all that, but he wasn't as big on the ghost aspect because he thought demons, because it says in the Bible, absent
Right.
from the body, present with the Lord. So he figured everything left around must be demons. So yeah, I guess you could say me and Dad had different opinions on the paranormal.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but when somebody goes into the spirit, because I definitely feel like they have a different perspective because they see the whole truth, the whole reality. They just see everything. So I think he
Right.
understands that it's maybe a little bit more complicated than maybe he realized. Hmm.
Right. Right. So you see Dad, huh? You can.
I feel him around you. Yeah, I do feel him around you. Hmm.
That is cool because I've been trying to contact him. I just got the boo-boos to be strong enough to try to contact him through the spirit box, the ITC research and all that. So I started calling out to him, asking other spirits, could you help me connect with Daniel Burris, my father? I've had no luck so far, but
I
that's
get the
cool.
feeling that he will come at some point, but I feel like it's going to be on his own terms.
Yeah.
He's not gonna, and he may not come in a very extreme way. I feel.
Right.
But I feel like he will come. Mhm.
Okay. That's great news. Now, is there different levels when we die?
I feel
We got
so.
huh?
Yes, I feel so. Mhm.
You do? So like a 1, 2, 3 type thing all the way up to the pearly gates?
Um, I think that what I see it is this. There is levels of spirit.
Mhm.
and spirit connects. Let me explain it this way. Here's a good way. This is what I feel. I don't believe somebody goes to the other side and they're punished, or it's like, oh my God, you were a bad person, you're going here. It's not really like that.
Right.
It's more like I feel energetically you attract the level of spirit that you belong to, you belong on. You're not going to, if you're not a very, very advanced soul, why would you're not going to get put in a very advanced level, because it would be like if you're in a kindergartner and they say, well, we're going to put you in calculus today. That's going to be so beyond you, you wouldn't even get anything out of being there. It'd be like pointless for you to be there. You're a kindergartner and you're in calculus class. You're not even going to understand anything that's going on there.
Sure.
Well, I think spiritually, it's not about, oh my God, you're bad, fire, brimstone. Oh my God, you're good, heaven. It's more like you attract the level, and yeah, you want to attract the higher level. And I really think you do that through, your karma, your good deeds, your thoughts, the way you treat others, the things that the way you carry yourself in the world. We do have free will when we come here. Every single one of us can choose at any time to be an evil person, and I don't believe that anybody comes to spirit. I do not believe that anybody is born and that they are only allowed to be evil here. I think that evil is a free will choice that people make. And so I think that, that's part. And then, so if you do that, then you bring that karma with you.
What do you feel about demons? Do they exist, or are we just running into really bad people on the other side?
For me, I personally haven't really seen a demon, but I believe hypothetically that they could exist. And I believe that they are I feel like they're just very negative energies, that are, conglomerate energies and stuff. That's what I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You think they can possess people and things like that
I think they can. I think that they definitely can. Mm-hmm.
You ever ran into anybody that claimed to be possessed, or you felt might have?
Not that I've met. No, not that I've met. I mean, I don't feel, no, not that I've met. No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
But I don't, that doesn't mean, and again, you have to remember, my work has been focused on evidential mediumship and connecting people to their loved ones. So I focus pretty much on that because that's what I think I'm best at and stuff. But I think it's definitely possible. I know there are some psychics, if you go into the kind of the old school spiritualist church, I mean, they totally don't believe in, they just are say that's totally crazy, and there's other things that they don't like. They don't believe that animals can really go to the other side, So I think everybody has their own philosophy, but I mean, I believe that theoretically, yes, I do believe demons. I feel that could be something that is. I have met people that have spiritual entities, demons, but they're entity attachments. That I have definitely experienced. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was that like?
Normally for me, I can feel it in a reading. It manifests a lot, I feel, through mental illness and people becoming kind of psychologically disturbed. I've also seen it result in health things like that. I also have met people that have had ghosts in their house or have ghosts in their house. Again, it's not something that I focus on a lot, but I have definitely seen it. I think it's hard when there's attachments because I've seen a lot of people struggle to get rid of them, and they're not an easy thing I don't feel like they're an easy thing to get rid of.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't think they would be. I've met one person that said they was possessed. I sat in on one exorcism one time, and I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, there was the double voices. There was the eyes rolled back in the head. It wasn't exactly like the movie The Exorcist, but, a lot of people, they could fake that too, right? I mean, if they're not fake it, but if they have a psychological condition or a mental problem, they could really believe, and people can be great actors at times. So it was hard to know what was going on. And it wasn't a priest that was performing The Exorcist. It was a demonologist guy that I had on a ghost hunts with you. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to ask you one more thing about what I do with the ITC. ITC is instrumental trance communication. Are you familiar a little bit?
No, I don't.
Okay, it's basically using little AM FM radios, just like this, and they sweep. You hit the button, you can sweep it forward or backwards, and you run it through a processor where you can clean it up. You can switch what frequencies, if voices are coming in on a low frequency or a high frequency, you can slow it down. You can reverse it for 10 seconds and play it back. Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, about the phone to the dead.
Yep.
It's been rumored that he developed one. Nikola Tesla, they said he believed that it was possible through vibrations and things that you could connect with the other side. What do you think it is? Is it the actual frequency? Because these voices are happening, Thomas. I'm hearing them, brother. I've been studying this for so long and doing all I can right here from my office. And I'm getting these voices, and they're getting stronger and stronger and stronger the more I do this. I've noticed that. But sometimes they won't talk at all. But what do you think that is? Is it the frequency? Are they using AM FM frequencies to communicate with us, or is it just what do you think?
I think that they are, and I think that they're able for some reason. I think that they're able to access that, or they're able to, get information through that way. I'm not really sure exactly how or why they do that, but I feel like they are. I definitely think they are able to do that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And what would you suggest as a ghost experiencer that I am? How would you suggest I start a session when I'm in a haunted location, trying to find out who, what, where, and why? Who's haunting the place? Why? What do you want? Things like that. What would you tell me if you were sitting here right now and we was getting ready to do a haunted house and
Well, I would definitely want to talk to you about psychic protection. Make sure you're protecting your energy.
mm-hmm.
Make sure that you are. That would be what I would be focused on, because I think that's one that you got to be careful of.
Right.
Again, though, I think that if you go with the intention of learning and exploring, and you're not going in the way of causing harm or issues, then I think that a lot of times it's I don't think they're gonna hurt you. I feel like I think they're going to I feel like they're gonna be they'll be responsive to that. So.
Right. Do you pick up anything from me, if I can ask? Do you feel like any of them are around me, or my connection with them might be getting stronger? That's why I'm getting better.
With the spirits?
Yeah.
I see you opening up to it a lot more. I feel like you're going to open up to it more. Yeah. And I also feel in spirit of yours that died a long time ago that wants to kind of be more in touch with you. And I feel like if you got to a place where you were doing your spirit box stuff, I think that this love, I don't know if it's a loved one or an ancestor. I don't really feel like you knew him, but he seems really interested in wanting to communicate to you from the other side. So I feel like if you wanted to kind of try to focus on him a little bit more, or even ask him questions, I feel like he would be wanting to maybe validate himself through things, or talk to you a little bit more.
Who is that though? Who would I know?
I don't know. He died a long time ago. He was kind of a shorter guy. His name was Charles.
Charles.
Yeah, but he was a short guy. I think he's some ancestor of yours. Could be a great grandfather. But he's an older relative of yours. But yeah, I mean, I think that I think that it's always fun to try to include your own relatives and stuff like that, because of course they can also potentially bring through a lot of, they can bring through a lot of stuff that can be validated too. So that's always
Sure.
cool too, because you know a little bit more about that and stuff. So.
Okay. All right. So let's I know we're pressed for time, brother. So let's wrap this up. I want to hear everything that you got coming up, that everybody can go and check you out and see what's coming up next for Thomas John.
So you want to go over to mediumthomas.com and click on events. And you'll see all my upcoming events and all my, all things, all stuff like that and stuff. So you'll see my online spirit circles, my online private readings. And so you can do things all the way from groups of, just a private reading, one person, all the way up to, large groups where there's hundreds of people. So it's just whatever your comfort level is, whatever you feel drawn to, it's a great thing to connect with.
Right. What would be so cool sometime if we could ever get together, ever, which would probably never happen because you're so busy. But if we could do the box session, because I got a processor, I got the spirit box. While you're doing your thing, I turn on the box and do my thing. And you sense what I mean. That could be a deal, man. That would be.
I think that could be a lot of fun, and let's put the intention that we should do that for sure.
Oh, I would love to. It'd be an honor, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I haven't really worked with that stuff a lot, so I would be interested to learn more about it too.
Well, you can reach out to me anytime, brother. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. But do you have anything else left to say?
Well, no, I want to thank you so much for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. And this is my new friend, guys, the Seatbelt Psychic himself, Thomas John. You can find out more about him at mediumthomas.com. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, you hear the music. You know what that means. It's time to close out the show. And I just want to say special thanks to our friends. And I want you guys to go over and check out and support my buddy, our friend Brad at Creative Zombie Studios. Check him out for all your website design and content creation. Remember, be the best, be creative. CreativeZombie.com. Check out Brad Shoemaker, guys. Support him, and I'm telling you, there's nobody better in the business for website design or content creation. He'll help you. He goes beyond help. So, with that said, from the haunted back roads of America, this has been another exclusive Shadow Nation interview. Don't go changing America. You know I won't, because I love you. Good night, everybody.